Hi, this is Rudy Jones of PalmettoStateBaseball.com. Welcome to the South Carolina College Baseball Recap for Friday, February the 20th. There were 28 games involving state teams on Friday. Several other games got rained out. We'll deal with that later. Going to try to break it down by classification or conference as we go along here. In NCAA Division I, Clemson scored 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to break a 3-3 tie and went on to beat Bryant by a score of 9-3 over at Doug Kingsmore Stadium. Luke Gaffney was 3 for 3, and both he and Jacob Jarrell homered for the Tigers. Jack Crichton had 3 hits. Aiden Connect struck out 8 in 5 shutout innings. I believe he gave up 1 hit. Down in Charleston, Garrison Burrill, Lucas Pringle, and Chandler Tuopo homered as Charleston Southern beat Elon by a score of 7-4 to improve to 5-0 this season. It's the first 5-0 start for the Buccaneers in their NCAA Division I era, and the first 5-0 start for the school since 1977. 1977, I still had a future then. But anyway, congratulations to the Buccaneers. In Conway, Ty Barango's 8th inning grand slam gave Coastal Carolina a run rule win of 13-2 over VCU in the Baseball at the Beach tournament. The Chanticleers improved to 4-1. Down in Charleston at the Joe, Will Holmes struck out 9 in 5 2/3 innings, and the Citadel held on to beat former Southern Conference foe Marshall by a score of 4-3. Bulldogs even their record at 2-2. Over in Rock Hill at Founders Stadium, Braden Gilley struck out 10 in 6 innings and combined with 2 relievers for a shutout, and Winthrop beat Morehead State 10-0. The Eagles improved to 3-2. Of course, Winthrop coach Mike McGuire started his 4-year coaching career at Morehead State. In Spartanburg at USC Upstate's Cleveland S. Harley Park, Jake Armsey, Wiley Waters, and Henry Zener homered, and USC Upstate beat Northern Illinois by a score of 8-5 in the one Spartanburg Inc. Classic. The Spartans improved their record at 3-3. 6 Wofford players drove in 2 or more runs against Valparaiso in a 15-9 win in the one Spartanburg Classic over at Russell C. King Field. The Terriers improved to 4-1. Down in Columbia, it was Salute the Troops weekend beginning, and the Gamecocks certainly made Army feel at home. USC pitchers gave up 7 walks, 3 wild pitches, and a hit batsman, and Josiah Overbeek's 457-foot home run helped pave the way for Army to beat the Gamecocks by a score of 9-5. Another disappointing outing from the Gamecocks, who are trying to bounce back from a losing record last year. Games like this are not going to help because the competition is only going to get better, and I do not say anything. I do not disparage Army with this. They're a traditional power and NCAA contender in the Patriot League where they are. First win of the season for the Black Knights of the Hudson after they were swept by Clemson last weekend. Talmadge Leakroy had a single and a home run. Patrick Evans had a couple of doubles for the Gamecocks, who just pretty listless at the plate for the most part in the early part of the game. In Charleston, South Alabama scored 5 runs in the first inning and run ruled Charleston by a score of 16-2 in 8 innings. The Cougars, who were coming off that nice win over Coastal Carolina midweek, fell to 2-4. And down in Clinton, New Jersey Tech scored in 7 of its 9 innings and beat Presbyterian 14-2 in the one Spartanburg Inc. Classic. The Blue Hose fell to 2-4. Almond Newberry did have a couple of hits for PC. In Conference Carolinas, Will Durrell had 6 hits, and Francis Marion swept Shorter by scores of 10-6 and 7-2 to improve its record to 12-1, including 5-0 in the conference. The Patriots of Coach Jeff Jefferson have won 10 straight, and that 7-run outing in Game 2 on Friday ended a streak of 9 straight double-digit scoring games for the Patriots. Doing pretty good. Elsewhere in Central, an 8-run 4th inning in Game 2 allowed Southern Wesleyan to withstand a 7-run 6th inning by King later in the game, as the Warriors held on for a 13-10 win to salvage a split of the doubleheader. The King won the first game 11-8. Southern Wesleyan is now 4-9 overall, 1-4 in the conference. In the Peach Belt Conference, Joseph Rauscher and Will Eichler teamed for a 3-hit shutout, and USC Aiken took the opener of a series at Middle Georgia by a score of 12-0. The Pacers are now 10-2 overall, 1-0 in the Peach Belt. In Dahlonega, Matthew Hurd pitched a complete game, and North Georgia beat Lander by a score of 5-2. North Georgia, by the way, is coached by former USC pitcher Nolan Belcher. They are now Nighthawks are now 11-2 overall, 4-0 in the Peach Belt. Lander fell to 8-3 and 2-2. And down in the Beaufort area, Augusta scored 2 or more runs in 5 different innings and beat USC Beaufort by a score of 12-5. The Sand Sharks fell to 3-7 overall, 0-4 in the Peach Belt. In the South Atlantic Conference, check out this line for Luke Compton. He was 5 for 7 with a double, a triple, 2 walks, 3 stolen bases, 2 runs scored, and 8 driven in as Newberry swept Virginia Wise in a couple of 7-inning games, 15-2 in Game 1, 9-1 in Game 2. Newberry's won 6 straight games to improve to 9-4 overall. They're 5-0 in the SAC. And Nick Riedel struck out 8 in 5 1/3 innings in Game 2 to improve his record to 3-0. In Tusculum, Tennessee, Caleb Owen struck out 10 in 7 innings, combined with Carson Roberts for a 3-hit shutout. And Anderson won over Tusculum in the series opener 6-0. The Trojans improved to 9-3 overall, 1-3 in the conference. And in the final South Atlantic Conference game of the night, Wingate got 14 hits and took the opener of the series at Coker by a score of 10-1. The Cobras fell to 1-10 and 1-3. They have really fallen on tough times so far this year after a good season last year. In NAIA play in the Appalachian Athletic Conference, David Mora tied Game 1 of the Grand Slam, and Daniel Sadati hit a 3-run homer later in this game to lift Columbia International to a 10-9 win over Milligan in Game 1 of a doubleheader. But the Buffaloes got an 8-0 shutout in Game 2 to take the rubber game of that series. Milligan is now, I don't have the record. Oh, yeah, they're 11-2 overall, 4-2 in the Appalachian Athletic Conference. Columbia International fell to 2-7 and 1-5. Up in Spartanburg, Jerry Pinckney drove in 3 runs with 2 singles in Game 2, and Spartanburg Methodist beat Reinhardt by a score of 6-4 to salvage a split in the doubleheader and the final game of the 3-game AAC series. The Pioneers are now 6-6 overall and 1-2 in the conference. In National Junior College Athletic Association Region 10, they began league play Friday. Brady Yarborough's 3rd hit of Game 1 drove in his 3rd run and gave USC Sumter a walk-off 8-7 win over USC Union in Game 1 of a doubleheader at Riley Park. In Game 2, the Fire Ants got a big early lead and held off the Bantams' comeback to win that game by a score of 9-8. Sumter improved to 9-2 overall, 2-0 in the conference region, if you will. USC Union had a 6-game winning streak snapped and fell to 8-4 overall, 0-2. Over in Gastonia, Caden Davidson drove in 4 runs, and Logan Panett tripled in the winning run late in the game as Gaston College took the opener of a series against Florence Darlington Tech by a score of 9-8. The Stingers had an early 7-2 lead before Gaston College rallied. Gaston is now 16-0 on the season. Florence Darlington Tech fell to 12-3 with its 2nd straight loss. A couple of other games that did not involve state teams. Illinois beat VCU 9-4 at the Baseball at the Beach tournament. Navy beat Air Force in the Salute the Troops event. And in the Swine and Swig and Swine Classic in Charleston, Merrimack beat Ball State by a score 9-5. Seton Hall beat George Mason 8-6. Claflin's game at Columbus State on Friday was postponed until Saturday. They're going to now move the series back. And North Greenville's doubleheader at Due West at Erskine was postponed, but they're going to make it up on Saturday at North Greenville, which has a turf field, which may be one of the things maybe make it easier to play on that after the rain. Wilberforce and Voorhees are supposed to play a doubleheader on Friday. I never could get a report or any kind of information, so I'm thinking that they may have been postponed. If I find out any more, I'll post the score or whatever else I can find at PalmettoStateBaseball.com. Well, how about the schedule for Saturday? Going to go in chronological order here. Bob Jones is at Guilford for a doubleheader at noon. Lane is at Benedict for a doubleheader at noon. Anderson is at Tusculum at 1 o'clock for a doubleheader. Florence Darlington Tech plays Gaston College at 1 o'clock for a doubleheader. King is at Southern Wesleyan at 1. Shorter is at Francis Marion at 1. USC Salkehatchie is at USC Lancaster for a doubleheader at 1. USC Union is at USC Sumter at 1, and I believe in that game going to honor former Fire Ants coach Tim Medlin. His family is going through some tough times because of an illness for his wife, and I believe that the USC Sumter is going to do some fundraising efforts, such as donating all of their admission proceeds and concession proceeds, and also give other opportunities for folks to help support the family. Elsewhere, Wilberforce is at Voorhees for what I believe will now be a doubleheader. Elon is at Charleston Southern at 1:30. Augusta is at USC Buford at 2. Bryan is at Clemson at 2. USC Aiken is at Middle Georgia at 2. South Alabama is at College of Charleston at 2. Landers at North Georgia at 3. Virginia Wise is at Newberry at 3. Claflin is at Columbus State at 5. And Marshall is at the Citadel at 5. Into baseball at the Beach Tournament at Conway. VCU is at Illinois at 11 a.m. Then Illinois turns around and plays Coastal at 4. And the one Spartanburg Inc. Classic in the Spartanburg and Clinton areas. New Jersey Tech is at Wofford at 2. Valparaiso is at USC Upstate at 2. And Northern Illinois is at Presbyterian at 3. In the Salute the Troops event in Columbia, Founders Park, Navy faces South Carolina at 1 o'clock, and Army meets Air Force at 5. In the Swig and Swine Classic in the Charleston area, George Mason plays Ball State at noon. Seton Hall plays Merrimack at noon, and then later Seton Hall plays Ball State at 4 o'clock. That's the schedule for tomorrow. Again, if I find any more details on the Voorhees Wilberforce games, I'll let you know. I always provide updates as best I can at PalmettoStateBaseball.com or on my X handle of Palmetto Base. You can get more information as well on the Palmetto State Baseball group on Facebook. Sorry I'm a little late getting this going. I went to a game on Friday. I had a couple other things that came up, and it just took a little while for me to catch up. But again, thanks for your patience in hanging on this long. And for now, this is Rudy Jones with PalmettoStateBaseball.com saying good night. Jesus loves you.